What's going on, guys? Aero here, and welcome back to another video. Now in today's video, I want to talk to you guys about all the new information that we got this week for Pokemon Sword and Pokemon Shield. Now if you guys don't know, the game journalist company, the Game Informer, got to take a special trip to Japan where they got to visit GameFreak's offices and talk to the director of Pokemon Sword and Shield, Mr. Shigeru Omori, as well as Mr. Junichi Masuda and some of the other workers at GameFreak, and talk about Pokemon Sword and Shield and the development of the games, as well as Pokemon in general. And this has made us get a lot of new information about Sword and Shield this week, and there's even like a live stream that happened about Sword and Shield a few days ago, so a lot of stuff has happened, and I figured in this video I would just take all the new information and compile it together instead of having like separate videos on every bit of new information when it comes out. So that's why I was waiting a little bit till everything came out, and so yeah, now we can talk about everything. And so after compiling all the information, I've got 10 new details here about Pokemon Sword and Pokemon Shield, so I figured let's talk about them and I'll give you guys my thoughts. So yeah, let's get started. Alright, so the first detail that was mentioned in the Game Informer interview is that max raid battles are apparently going to be very challenging. So when they were talking about max raid battles and developing them, they talked about how max raid battles are apparently going to have stars that are going to give you guys an idea of how difficult the challenge is. So when you're going to go into a max raid battle with your friends or with people locally or people online, if you guys attempt to do like a 5-star challenge, that battle is going to be much harder than like doing one that might be only 2 or 3 stars. Now I'm definitely excited about this because if max raid battles are actually going to be challenging, it's going to be a lot of fun to try to come up with strategies with you and your friends to try to take them out, and I think it's just going to be cool because you're going to be able to do it with multiple people, and having challenging like battles inside of Pokemon is just something that the game hasn't actually ever done. It's usually ever if you wanted a challenge you would have to take some competitive battles online if you wanted to go against like other people who knew how to play the game really well, but if we're actually going to have like challenging battles that are just right in the game itself with the new mode like this, I'm actually very excited to see how that's going to turn out. Now the next thing here is that Mr. Masuda mentioned in an interview that Mr. Kazumasa Iwao, who was the director of Pokemon Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon, and who is the planning director of Pokemon Sword and Shield, is probably one of the most skilled competitive battlers that they have at Game Freak, and how even he mentioned that some of the max raid battles can be very challenging for him. So that's just exciting because if someone who's really good into competitive battling, who really has a good idea of how items work and how the competitive metagame works, is having trouble against some of these max raid battles, that could actually mean that they're actually going to be really challenging. So I'm actually very looking forward to seeing how difficult these battles are going to get. The next thing is that Pokemon Sword and Shield is in fact going to have an autosave feature, and so that's something that's really cool because Pokemon has never really done this before, and it's really awesome because most modern games now always have an autosave feature where after you play the game for a good amount of time, the game will automatically save. And so for the longest time, Pokemon has always just been like if your DS lost power or something like that, or you dropped your DS and the game froze, you would have just lost all your progress, but you won't have to worry about that on the Switch. And also the good news is that you are going to be able to turn off this feature, because I know some people wouldn't have liked this, like if you're especially like saving before a legendary Pokemon trying to catch it, but let's say you accidentally defeat it or something and the game autosaved and you wouldn't be able to catch it anymore, you won't have to worry about that. There is an option to turn it off if you still want the traditional manual saving. So by now, I'm sure a lot of you guys know that the National Dex is not going to be inside of Pokemon Sword and Shield, meaning that every single Pokemon ever created is not going to be possible to have in this game at once. There's only going to be a limited number of Pokemon inside of Sword and Shield, and when asking about this with Game Informer, Mr. Masuda explained that Pokemon were cut inside of Sword and Shield for a lot of new gameplay features, and he was even saying that there's a whole bunch of new features that they haven't even revealed yet, and so that's what they're saying apparently now as for the reason that we don't have all of the Pokemon. Now because Pokemon Sword and Shield aren't out yet, we don't know exactly what all this game has to offer, so I can't tell you if this was a good decision or if I'm happy with a lot of the things that they added into the games, but going by what Mr. Masuda said, he did say like in the past they had to cut a lot of the features and ideas that they had for Pokemon because they wanted to make sure that all the Pokemon were still in the game, but this time around they thought like let's just add the new features and gameplay ideas but not really worry about the Pokemon. So I'd have to see for myself, I'd have to see like all of the features and things that exist in the game to see if I'm good with this and if I'm okay with it, but I can't really tell you guys how I feel about this right now. I mean, from the way that he's saying, like he seems excited about it and he definitely seems like players are gonna understand when they actually play the game, so I'll tell you guys in my review when I actually like play through the game and see everything it has to offer. But of course when I do get Pokemon Sword and Shield, I'm gonna go in expecting a lot of gameplay features and things like that instead of having all of the Pokemon, because that's what they said in the interview. And also, if you are disappointed that your favorite Pokemon may or may not be inside of Pokemon Sword and Shield, Mr. Masuda also did assure to Game Informer that Pokemon that do not appear inside of Sword and Shield will in fact appear in future games that they release on the Switch and in future regions, so you won't have to worry about like never seeing your favorite Pokemon again. You probably will see it, but it might not be inside of Sword and Shield. The next thing that they revealed is that 8 gems are not going to be inside of Pokemon Sword and Shield, and I figured that this was going to be the case anyway, as if you guys remember when they first revealed Corviknight, they talked about how Corviknight is going to have a flying taxi feature where you can talk to an NPC who will have a Corviknight, and that Corviknight will fly you to any previous city that you visited, and so that was pretty much the replacement for the Fly 8 gem. So ever since that, I pretty much figured that 8 gems were just not going to be inside of the game, and they were cut in Gen 7 as well. We had the Ride Pokemon, so why would they have like the Ride Pokemon and no 8 gems in Gen 7, and then bring them back again with Gen 8? It just wouldn't have made a lot of sense. So I figured from now on, like, 8 gems are probably just not going to return. Maybe they'll return for the Diamond and Pearl remakes because 8 gems existed in those games, but going on with like new games forward, I don't think we're going to see any more 8 gems. The next thing is that the Exp Share is no longer an item, but is in fact baked into the game itself, and so Mr. Shigeru Omori talked about how the Exp Share isn't going to be an item that you're going to be able to control from your bag, but right away inside of the game, as soon as you have multiple Pokemon and you battle other Pokemon, all the Pokemon in your party are going to gain experience. But we did see from like examples when they gain experience that it's going to depend on like their level, so I think it might be balanced to some extent, but it doesn't look like that you are going to be able to turn off the Exp Share, which I know that it could be a little bit disappointing for some people, because the thing with Exp Share is that for some people they like to make the game a little more challenging, and they don't like to have all of their Pokemon level up when they're just battling one other Pokemon, so it might be a little bit upsetting for those types of people if you can't turn it off. I don't think we've gotten definitive confirmation if you can turn off the Exp Share, or if there's like a option in the settings to make sure that your Pokemon don't all gain XP, but from what it seems like, it's not an item anymore, so you might just have all your Pokemon gain XP by default. But like I said, it might be a little bit balanced, because like some people mentioned how like some Pokemon don't gain as much XP as the other ones, so if it is balanced to some extent, then it might not be as bad. Now, Mr. Kazumasa Iwao also did explain that there's going to be a lot more mechanics and features inside of Pokemon Sword and Shield that are going to make competitive battling a lot more easier. And so by this, he did explain that he did have to remain a little bit vague. He couldn't go exactly into full detail about what he means, but he said when they do officially reveal them, you'll understand what I'm talking about. And essentially, he just said like in the past, you had to spend a lot of hours to breed and make sure that you had the right Pokemon to use competitively, but this time around with Pokemon Sword and Shield, you're going to be able to use every Pokemon competitively, because they've implemented a lot of tools and things to make sure that you can tweak your Pokemon to be as competitive as you want. So essentially, he gave like an example saying like maybe you have the perfect Pokemon, but it's not the right nature or personality that you want, but now inside of Sword and Shield, there's going to be tools where you can essentially, I think, change the nature of Pokemon and change the personality and stuff, so that's going to make competitive battling a lot more easier. And you guys know that I like competitive battling a lot, like that's basically all I do in a Pokemon game after I'm done the main story, so I'm definitely looking forward to that. Now, the last two things that we have here are actually from that special Pokemon live stream that happened for 24 hours a few days ago, and so if you guys did watch that all the way through, I give you mad props. I know my dude Ruffle Rowlet streamed that whole thing, so mad respect to him, but like, that was a really boring stream, not gonna lie. Like, a lot of stuff just didn't happen. It was really just staring at some trees and mushrooms the whole time, and then like, sometimes a Pikachu or something would pop out, but it was pretty boring, not gonna lie. So like, a lot of the stuff just wasn't as exciting. I did stream like 5 hours of it, but even during that time, like, I was pretty much just bored on stream, so there wasn't a lot of exciting things, but we did get 2 reveals inside of that entire stream, so I decided to put them into this video so you guys don't have to actually watch that stream or like have to like look for the information yourself. So the first thing is that the Pokemon Company finally acknowledged Impidimp, which was a new Pokemon that was inside of the demo at E3 for Pokemon Sword and Shield. This was already in the demo, but they never officially acknowledged it as a Pokemon, so now that we know that it's appeared inside of the stream, we know that it's still inside of Pokemon Sword and Shield, and we're probably going to get an official reveal in a trailer really soon. And finally, the biggest reveal inside of that entire stream is that it looks like that there is going to be a Galarian Ponyta that you're going to be able to get inside of Pokemon Sword and Shield, and we got to see a little footage of that inside of the stream, and at the very end, before the stream ended, we got to hear the cry of a Rapidash, so people do believe that there's probably going to be a Galarian Rapidash as well, and from the looks of it, like, they definitely seem to be multicolored and rainbow-like, so it's probably going to be a fairy-type Pokemon. They definitely look like unicorns, so it looks like the Galarian Ponyta and Rapidash are probably going to be unicorn-like Pokemon that are going to be fairy types. And so there you go, guys, that's all the new information about Pokemon Sword and Shield that was revealed this week with the Game Informer interviews as well as that Pokemon live stream. If you guys enjoyed this video, then please be sure to click that like button and also comment down below. Let me know what you guys think of all of this. Are you excited by some of these things? Or you're not excited by them? Definitely be sure to comment down below and let me know. If you're new to this channel, then please be sure to subscribe. I'm definitely going to have some more Pokemon content in the future, so please be sure to subscribe so you don't miss out on that. Click on that bell to become a part of the notification squad. Go follow me on Twitter at Aero so you can be featured in videos, and also join my Discord server as well. We've got a bunch of people in there who are always talking about Pokemon and Smash Bros and Nintendo, so definitely be sure to join that. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Thank you so much. for watching.